looky here. It's the Pat and JT podcast.
Pat and JT podcast.
Thanks for listening, subscribing, sharing, telling everybody, your mom, whoever. Wake up, grandma, tell her that we're doing a podcast. It's Pat and JT. It's Pat and JT on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our email address, we've been getting a lot more email now. We've been promoting. We didn't really promote the email address for so long. Hey, H-E-Y, hey, at patandjt.com.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. And in particular, I have one email that I really want to grab here. This one came into us from Allie. So it says, hey, Pat and JT, which she sent to patandjt.com. Hey, at. Let's try that again. Which she sent to hey, at patandjt.com. I was listening to episode 150, conversation about the Snapchat streaks.
Oh, yeah.
I have a funny, but I'm still bitter story about Snapchat streaks. She's 30, and her sister, they communicate primarily through Snapchat streaks. Who sends texts anymore, she says.
Right. No, yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm so old-fashioned. Back in June, my phone got the black screen of death. It wouldn't turn on, wouldn't charge. I had to Google my husband's work to find the phone number so I could let him know.
That's so funny.
If he couldn't get a hold of me, not to worry. The killer didn't get me yet. That night around 10, after I put my daughter to bed, took my husband's phone, decided to text my sister and let her know that my phone was broke. I immediately get a call from my sister. Oh my God, where have you been all day? I've been blowing up your Snapchat to let you know I received a tip that the Ghost Adventures crew was over in Council Bluffs filming at Squirrel Cage Jail.
Oh, no way.
I love that place, by the way. Anyway, I asked if you wanted to go with me. You never responded. And guess what? I got a picture with Zach and the crew. And it's an awesome picture, by the way. I asked her, why didn't you call my husband's phone? Weren't you worried that the killer kidnapped me and I was dead? And she says, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. I was more worried about getting over to the Squirrel Cage Jail.
Didn't even cross my mind.
So this ruined her whole month. She says, I was so upset and I'm still bitter. I didn't get to meet the Ghost Adventures crew. My sister's Facebook with her phone and her phone wallpaper now is her with Zach and the whole crew.
That is awesome.
She said Zach smelled like an angel. She also likes to rub my face in the fact that she got to meet them and how it's too bad I didn't get to go. Whatever. When I finally got a phone, my notifications went off for a solid 2 minutes. I had over 50 Snapchats just from my sister asking why I was ignoring her and that she was going to go with or without me. And we had to restart our streak.
That's the worst part, is you had to restart your streaks.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share the story with you and tell you how much I love listening to the podcast. She really likes the slowdowns of our voices.
Oh, it's hilarious.
And people at her work think she's crazy because she's just like, it works in a really silent office, but she listens to it there.
That's awesome.
Allie, that's awesome. So I did write back to her and thanked her for the note. And then also curious, do you know when this episode's going to air? Because I want to watch this Squirrel Cage Jail. So she checked with her sister. She said that they hadn't said when the episode was going to air, but she did some research on the current episodes and comparing them to their Instagram and Twitter pages. And so she did some work here. She assumes it will air 6 months from the time they did it. So probably winter time. And one detail she said I forgot to include in my original email. Farrah Abraham's mom was there. She showed up at Squirrel Cage.
Rando?
And kept trying to get in the shot. And they had to ask her to move a few times. Anyway, she got the picture for it, which the picture is great. And she says, I told my sister I hate the picture and I think she looks terrible. Just kidding. It's still a sore subject. It is a great picture of the whole crew. So that's awesome, Allie.
Yeah, that is cool.
I love it. So I will be watching for that on Ghost Adventures Squirrel Cage Jail episode.
Snapchat needs to have a pause button or a broken phone. Since
Recover?
Because you can't log in. Now, you can log in from another device, but you can't log in from like a desktop. They don't have a desktop. You can't go to Snapchat.com.
You don't. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So now, one of Sophia's friends, when he was on vacation with his family, he tasked her to log into, she'd have to log out of her Snapchat, log into his Snapchat every day, and continue his streaks.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. She was like, Dad, it's a lot of work.
She should make she could make some money doing that.
Yeah. Great idea. But it's the rare person though that would allow another person access to their Snapchat just because you get all the DMs, you get all
bonded, you know.
Oh yeah, like licensed.
Yeah. I don't know where you go for that license, but I mean,
I'm sure there's a website somewhere.
There's got to be a document on LegalZoom or something that would prevent her from, I'm
going to write that down.
Taking advantage of anybody that she's taking over their Snapchat account to keep their streaks alive.
Yeah.
Maybe even she could have automated responses that she could just use that are just randos that she could put in there. So
That's a great idea. I'm all about these kids bringing some scratch home. Because it seems like the flow of money's going one way, and that's about it. That's about all.
That's about all there is to it.
Right.
The river doesn't flow the other way, does it?
Not very fast. It's a little trickle. That's about it.
By the way, how is the driving kid doing?
He's doing great.
Good.
Yeah, he's doing awesome. He's all over the place. We've been in our house for a week, and I have hardly seen him because I'm here all day, and he's usually working, and then at night he's with his buddies or they're out, gallivanting around.
Oh my God.
I love it.
Remember
it's
16?
Great.
You think back
Yes.
to, oh my God.
I know. I was butthurt for like the first 2 or 3 days. I'm like, I don't see him. Was he mad at me? And then I just started really thinking about it. About when I was 16, I was a fart in the wind.
Yep.
Gone. So I don't feel quite so bad.
Understand. Yeah. That's something to think about. It's like, thinking about when you were 16, what you were doing, where you were at, who you're hanging out with.
Yeah. I definitely wasn't at
How
home.
often you were at home.
Every place other than home. I mean, it's just because you could.
Yeah, the minute you got the car. And there was, at the very beginning, it was really fun to go run errands for everybody.
Yeah. I think that wore off fast.
It did eventually. But yeah, the drive-in thing. It's funny too, because not all kids look forward to it. And even when I was 16, and not everybody looked forward, not everybody got a car. Not everybody cared. It wasn't really a priority. If you lived just outside of town or you had a long ways to go, yeah, you're probably going to end up with a truck or something.
Some beater thing.
But I was always the driver. I never...
That does not surprise me. To this day, I don't like riding with people. I don't like depending on them for when they leave somewhere, or especially if it's not a road trip, but even if it's like to Lincoln or to Sioux City or something, I don't like riding with people because when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go.
Right? Okay, so you think about like your parents' generation, probably more so than even later than that, is that like when they got to eat, they would meet up and then drive together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go to one or the other's house, and like there was always that they'd show up at each other's home, whatever it was, and then everybody would drive in the one vehicle. You'd all go together. I remember doing that when I was a kid, and friends and my mom and dad would come over. They maybe have a drink, right?
Mm-hmm. And they go
shoot the poop for a little bit, and then let's get going. It's about time, and then everybody would get in the car and drive together, to go weird. Everywhere.
Yeah, which is very odd. I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan.
That is.
I think because now we don't
really
like
change.
I don't like if people commit. The first thing I think of is
how can I get out of it?
Right. Well. Okay. So the second thing I think of is like at the end of the night, it's that awkward kind of. If they're going to come in, it's like, well, I don't want this to be an all night thing, like till 2 a.m. So a beer turns into 5 beers, and you don't want to say, okay, well, some people can't pick up on the social cues of the yawning or going to put your pajamas on, and they just sit there. It's like, dude,
the minute you take your pants off, that would be the clue.
That
right?
would be the clue that, well, honey, looks like we got to get going.
But it's funny that people don't do that anymore when they plan to go somewhere. Like if they were going to go to in Omaha, I'm just curious. Maybe it's a generational thing, or maybe it's an age thing. See, it doesn't make sense though. My parents, if they were going to go, if they were live in Omaha, you're going to go to a concert in Lincoln with some friends. You'd all get together and drive together. But not anymore, I don't think.
Yeah,
I think everybody just drives themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, let us know if you're a carpooler or a lone wolf, just because you think, how can I get out of this?
I've always got to have my car. I want to have my car there. And if you're at somebody else's car, you're at their
yes, I don't like
mercy. And so you can't really direct the evening
the way you want.
All right, we should probably get going, guys, because you're not driving.
Yeah, you can't. It's like overstepping.
Yeah. Okay.
And if they say, well, should we get going? And you don't want to be like, yes. You just go, well, I mean, it's up to you, whatever you know.
The other side, I don't want to go yet.
Right.
But you have to because your ride's leaving.
That's the worst.
That's the worst.
Hey, what time we should probably get going? Oh, no, not yet. Just a little bit longer.
Okay.
It's an hour and a half.
Exactly. Coming up in the next few episodes, we're going to have one of our favorite friends of the show, guests for years, and is Clay Anderson, the Nebraska astronaut from Ashland. And so I grew up in his shadow, definitely in his shadow. He was, talk about BMOC, man. He was everywhere.
BMOC?
Big man on
Oh,
campus.
got it. I'm bad with the acronyms.
It's okay. I had to tell him what wag meant earlier today.
Wag,
Anyway.
and also asked you what was the other day I asked you.
You want to know how to spell hose?
No, I did. not in garden.
Not garden.
I was referencing multiple hoes in a text to my brother. And I couldn't say the B word because it was too disrespectful.
But I said, hose is okay, but not the B word.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had to refer to Urban Dictionary.
Because hose, H-O, is that Santa or is that a thought? Hose. We
Ho,
figured out
H-O.
what was the final judgment on multiple?
According to Urban Dictionary,
multiple hose.
multiple hose is H-O-S or H-O-E-S.
I thought that's
Either
a
way,
garden hoe. Isn't it
H-O-S-E is a garden hoe.
H-O-S. No, hoe like a hoe.
H-O-E.
Yeah, so H-O-E-S would be multiple garden hose, not multiple. What? There's so many different.
There's a lot more hoes out there than we thought.
Right.
I forgot
there's a lot.
about it. Yeah. But a hoe is H-O-E.
That's all I thought about was a garden hoe, Santa, a garden hoe, and a thought. That's all. Those are the only hoes that I know. Then
And garden.
you got garden hose, Santa,
Garden tool.
Oh, and hose. Yeah.
Right? Okay. Santa, garden tool, garden hose.
And if you get hosed, is that like H-O-S-E-D?
Yes.
Okay.
Although I don't know if that's an actual, to get hosed, if that's really a word.
Yeah, I got totally hosed on
A
that.
past tense hoe is hosed.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
What'd you do last night? I got hosed. I don't know.
I don't think that's a word in the dictionary because the other hose don't have a past tense. A garden tool and a garden hose don't have a past tense.
What'd you do last night? I hoed the garden.
Hoed. H-O-E-D.
Yeah.
Hoed? Would that be right?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever
I get
used,
it. That's
I've
you're
never
right.
used an actual hoe before.
But if you have multiple past tense garden tools.
like shoveled? I shoveled.
You
I
shoveled,
raked.
yes. But not hose. You can't have the hoe. If you have a hoe, you have 15 hoes, not hodes.
Oh, yeah, right.
Got it? Okay, thank you. Wow. Anyway, where were we going
I don't
before
even
that?
know what we were talking about. Spelling hoe.
How did we get there?
Ironically enough, Clay Anderson got us
Okay.
Because I was asking you what BMOC meant.
Oh, there we go. Okay, BMOC. Back to that.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was like, he is a brilliant singer. He's sang at several places. In church, he sings. I mean, he still does. And he's a great entertainer. He was in the drama department, plays, musicals, and he was unbelievable athlete, 3-sport athlete, no doubt about it. But he's also the nicest guy you'd ever meet.
Super nice and hilarious.
And super smart on top of it. He is literally a rocket scientist.
Yeah.
But he is this weekend really busy as we speak. The weekend of, what is today? The 18th?
Yeah,
19th, 20th.
Right. Yeah.
In that of July, the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11, the moon landing, which is huge. And so he's really super busy. And he has some events. He was attending at Strategic Air Command at the museum.
Today,
SAC
as
museum.
this podcast drops, it's today.
Saturday,
yeah.
and I know it's an early event that he was going to be out there for, hosting some of the things that they were doing. This whole summer, they've of course dedicated it to the 50th anniversary of the moon. This summer, apparently the museum had Jedi training classes.
Sweet.
You missed out. Yeah, and they limited, not completely. You could have done this. It was for 6 and up.
Yeah.
You could have taken a Jedi training class. But anyway, his event, he'll have Clay. They have Clay taking the stage, doing a presentation about the future of space flight, and also looking at their exhibit, which is Space Humanity's Longest Journey. And I think that's going to be there through September, or at least part of September, if you get a chance to go see it. And then he's got to go back to Houston, because then the next morning, Sunday morning, he'll be, I guess, the keynote preacher, I think is what he called himself, at the Presbyterian Church there. It's kind of the astronaut church.
Yeah.
And so he's going to be the keynote preacher.
Which is awesome.
And leading the sermon.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool that he's from Ashland, from Nebraska.
Yeah.
And so next week we'll grab him on Skype or something and talk to him about a lot of cool stuff.
A lot of things, because there's also the talk about going back to the moon, which I find fascinating. I'll tell you something, if you don't follow him on Twitter, is NASA. They put out some great stuff. I mean, just fascinating stuff. And it's real, in layman's terms, it's very entertaining as well. So it's captivating. It's not all facts and figures and science talk. but it's really fun to watch some of the things that they've got going on right now. I think their next mission is called Artemis, and which is that it's one of the Greek goddesses, the sister of.
I don't remember anything about Greek gods at all.
Anyway, but it's called Artemis because it will be the first woman, and then there's going to be that will be on this mission on the moon, and they're planning to land. And it looks like stick around for a little while and do some more tests and things, and kind of spend more time there than they have. They've only spent a handful of hours on the moon.
Yeah, which is crazy to think.
Yeah. It is. It's fascinating. So anyway, we'll find out more about that when we get a chance to talk to him. I'm looking forward to that. So we'll get him in here. Otherwise, learned a lot this episode, right?
We learned a ton.
And thankfully, we get the butt this right up talking about Clay Anderson to Kugler Vision.
We had to get a little gap in there between the talk about multi-garden tools.
And Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
So Kugler Vision, supporter of our podcast. They've been with us almost the entire way. And I love having them as a supporter of our podcast because we love being able to pass on the information that they give us about what they're doing at Kugler Vision. They are just like at the forefront. People come from all over to have their eyes taken care of by Kugler Vision. You can do the same thing. They're right here in Omaha. That's the cool part. All you got to do is get online at kuglervision.com. If you're thinking about getting rid of the glasses, getting rid of the contacts, schedule your consultation.
Yeah, there's no reason not to. Go into their website, and when there's a little spot in there that asks where you heard of it, just say Pat and JT podcast, type it in, click it, whatever. And then when you're there, just thank them for supporting our podcast. And it really, in my instance, with my procedure that I had, it was incredible. And you've heard those stories from a ton of people.
I know. Yes.
So go, kuglervision.com, and we're just so happy that they're supporting our podcast.
You got it.
And our podcast, like we were just saying, is everywhere. Wherever you get your podcasts, like, subscribe, rate, review. You can also go to our website, which is patandjt.com.
Pat and JT Podcast, a Parkville Media Production.